Dear students, I am going to explain one new module, non-random sampling. So what is non-random sampling? Non-random sampling is totally against random sampling, where in random sampling every unit of the population will get an equal chance of being selected in the sample. Whereas non-random sampling meaning you are using your personal judgment. See, for example, if I want to conduct a study about the meritorious students, so what I will do, I am a teacher, I have an idea about my students. So who are hardworking, who are getting more marks, who are getting distinction. Only those students I will include in the sample. Then it will become a non-random sampling. The reason is that I am using my judgment, my personal bias in selecting the sample. It is not an accepted method, but you can see that in some methods non-random sampling is used for the study. But it's not an accepted method in research. So non-random sampling, there are four methods. One is judgment or purposive sampling. Second is quota sampling. Third is convenience sampling. And fourth is cluster sampling. So in non-random sampling, as I told you, the investigator is using personal judgment. How I am identifying the meritorious students. Second is personal bias. My closeness with the students. My approachability with the students. So all this I am selecting for including them in the sample. Then it will become non-random. So this method, as I told you, it's not an accepted method for data collection in research. Now the first method I will explain, judgment or purposive sampling. So this is, as the name indicates, the investigator is using his or her personal judgment. So investigator exercises his judgment in the choice. Second one is investigator includes those items in the sample which he thinks are most typical of the universe. So the investigator is using personal judgment. See, if I want to conduct a survey about the alcoholism among students or drug addiction among students, I have certain judgments about some students, so I am conducting a survey about them. So that is the judgment. Third point is not a scientific method, as the results will be affected. Sometimes it will be my wrong judgment, but I am considering that student as an alcoholic or a drug addict. So it will become my personal judgment is going wrong. So another example, if I'll take wage pattern of workers in a factory. So if I want to conduct a survey saying that the wage pattern is not correct, they are not following the government rules and regulations, the workers are less paid. So I am using this method to prove that I am selecting only those workers who are getting less paid. So that is my judgment and I want to prove something. That is my idea. So for that I am using judgment or purposive sampling. Now the second one is quota sampling. So this investigator assigns a fixed number or quota of persons from within certain well-defined category. So that you have to remember. See, for example, if you want to conduct a survey among college students. So if my idea is to conduct a survey about 100 students from all the colleges in Bangalore. So I will get the quota, 100 students. So all the colleges, imagine if 500 colleges are there in Bangalore city. So each college I have to select 100. That is the quota given to me. So accordingly, I have to select any 100 students from the quota. So within the quota, the selection of sample depends upon personal judgment. I can go to the colleges, I can select any 100 students. So example is, this method is popular for radio listeners, so that any 100 radio listeners we can select. Then we can do a research. So there is chance for bias. Whoever I will come across, then I will include them as sample. So commonly used in public opinion surveys and marketing research surveys. If you want any quick result about a new product introduced by a company, they use quota sampling. Third method is convenience sampling. As the name indicates, it's the convenience sampling. Most of the time when we will tell students to do some research for a project work, they use convenience sampling. If they have to conduct a survey about a college, then they will select the college close to their house or college close to their college. So it's easy to collect the data. So that is the meaning of convenience sampling. So in this, sample is selected according to the convenience of the investigator. So the sample selected from the population is referred to as chunk of the population or the group of the population. But this method is quite useful and suitable when the universe is not clearly defined. If the universe is not clearly defined, if it's an accident site, you don't know who all have witnessed that. So immediately you have to go to the site and you have to go to the spot and you have to collect the information. The universe is not clearly defined. TV correspondents or news channel reporters and all, they will use this convenient sampling because they want to get the quick information. So whoever available, they will collect the information. So sampling unit is not clear. So whoever will come across in the accident site, they will collect the information. Now complete list is not possible. They cannot go around and ask who all have witnessed that. Some people may not be ready to share the information also. So another example, if you'll say that study about industrial workers, investigator selects the industry near his house or her house. So that is why, just like students selecting the college or the researcher selecting the industry near their house or near their workplace, then it will become convenient sampling. Next is cluster sampling. So here population is divided into externally homogeneous but internally heterogeneous groups called clusters. So if you see that food habits, that is heterogeneous group. Some people eat egg, some people don't eat beef, some people eat chicken, some people don't eat mutton. All this different varieties are there. So it's very heterogeneous group. We are calling it as a cluster sampling is the most suitable method. So each cluster is a mini representation of the entire universe. So that is how food habits, when we take the population, everybody is represented there. So after identifying the clusters, certain clusters are selected using simple random sampling techniques. Simple random sampling techniques, we know that lottery method is there and table of random numbers. So other clusters we are not representing at all. Only the selected ones are getting a chance to be included in the sample. So after selecting the clusters, the researcher will choose appropriate methods to select the required units. I am conducting a survey about the eating habits. So vegetarians, non-vegetarians, Jain community, Muslims, like that, Hindus, those who eat only egg, those who eat only chicken, those who eat only fish, like that we will form different clusters and we will conduct a survey. Then it is known as cluster sampling. So from the cluster, using an appropriate random method, we will select the sample. But this is also a non-random sampling method. Now, I want to explain about this methods, merits of sampling. So, the merits of sampling, you have to remember the time required is less compared to census survey. Census survey, you know that entire population is covered, whereas sampling meaning you are taking a sample from the population. So, the time required is much less. Second one is financial resources. If financial resources are limited, sample survey is the only appropriate method. Usually I will always say that census method only government can adopt the survey because they have the resources, they have the time, they have the money, they have the employees, they can do that. Whereas sample, when we come to individuals or organizations which is not supported by any financial funding, we always resort to sample survey. Enumerators can be trained. If you are using sample survey, we can train the enumerators properly, how to collect the data, how to approach the respondents. So if they are better trained, we can quality information we can collect from the respondents. Then more detailed information can be collected. See, census survey, if you are able to cover only 15 questions, maybe 25 questions, you can collect detailed information if you are using sampling. Now in some cases, only sampling method is possible. See, for example, manufacturing units. You will not check each and every item. If it's a garment factory, one lot you will take. If you see that it's appropriate, there is no damages, then you will assume that the entire population or the entire lot is error free. So you can send it for sale. So that is manufacturing units always use sampling. Then organization and administration of the sample survey is easy compared to a census survey. You know that census is much detailed one. So they have the resources, they have the people, they have the superiors, everything to conduct that and for the proper administration, they have the people to do that. Whereas sample meaning it's much simple. You are doing a simple work. Sometimes you can only coordinate and you can administer the survey properly. Now we are coming to the last slide, that is limitations of sampling. So first one is, if it is not properly administered and executed, the results may be inaccurate. Results may not be correct. So that means if you are not training the enumerators properly, if you are not collecting the information properly, you cannot go back to the respondents and ask for more information. They will not have the time. They will not be ready to share the information also. So it should be properly administered. Second point is, requires the services of experts for proper planning and execution of survey. Those who are experienced in the field, those who have conducted different sample surveys, they can only be the experts in that. So you have to take the help of experts. Otherwise, this will not be a good exercise to do that. Third one is, in some cases, sample survey is not possible. For example, if you want to test the computers, costly computers, manufacturers will never go for sampling. They have to check each and every item, like manufacturing the vehicles or manufacturing any vehicle, aeroplane, anything. They cannot go for sampling. They have to test everything. All the vehicles manufactured, all the aircraft manufactured, all the computers manufactured. They cannot go for sampling in this case. Last point is, if the sample is not drawn properly, results may be inaccurate. See, we have to use that simple random sampling techniques, lottery method and table of random numbers. There we are not using, we have no idea of using any personal bias. Everybody is getting an equal chance of being selected in the sample. So that is the importance. You have to see that you are using a simple random sampling technique to select the samples. Then only it will become error free and you will get the expected result. Thank you.